Well, in the wake of Charlie Kirk's death, Attorney General Pam Bondi has sworn that she will root out and stomp out all forms of hate speech.
Kill the monster!
I'm Jazz Borganzo, and this. Two things, Pam. One, we're America.
Fuck yeah!
And two, have you seen what Great Britain's doing lately?
Oh my god!
Yeah, not good.
Are you retarded?
But it's what's next. What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Jazz Borganzo, what's next? Your daily dose. Hope you guys are feeling good today on this Wednesday. Of course, this is the second of two videos. This one, got a little issue with Pam Bondi. Pam Bondi the other day, in the wake of Charlie Kirk's killing by a deranged, mentally ill, demonic assassin, says that she will root out, go after anybody regarding hate speech and will use the full power of the federal government to do so. Well, Pam, that's a problem. That's a problem. We live in America, and that's what the Constitution is for. The Constitution doesn't just protect things that you are happy to say, but also protects things that you're not supposed to say. You know, bad things. You know, that you can curse out the government. You know, and the government's not going to come knocking at your door. You know, unlike Great Britain, but we'll talk about that later. Anyway, Pam Bondi, yeah, she's got a little bit of, she's in a little bit of hot water. And here we go. This comes out of New York Post. Don't use Charlie Kirk's death to stomp on freedoms he defended. Of course, there's a Post editorial. Attorney General Pam Bondi on Tuesday started to walk back her embrace of hate speech exception for the First Amendment, as well as equally foolish business cannot discriminate stance against private right of conscience. That plays right into lefty charges that the right is rushing to suppress legal dissent in the wake of the horrific Charlie Kirk murdering. Discussing far-left glee over the killing, Bondi claimed on the podcast that there was free speech and there's hate speech, and promises that the Justice Department would absolutely target those who used hate speech, quote unquote. Charlie Kirk in May of 24. Quote, hate speech doesn't exist legally in America. There's ugly speech, there's gross speech, there's even evil speech. All of it is protected by the First Amendment. That nicely sums up America's positioning, going back to at least Thomas Jefferson. Although constitutional haters like Woodrow Wilson saw things differently. We have no free speech, right? If the government pushing words it deems, quote, hateful. Hence, Bondi's reversal is arguing not only speech crosses the line into a threat of violence, not only protected by the First Amendment, and free speech that does not and will never protect violence, right, and irreverent. Note that censoring speech is entirely different from free individuals and institutions applying consequences for speech they find objectionable. There's a difference between government coming down on you and private business coming down on you. It's absolutely right for private players to penalize, for example, the misinformation spreaders who, per a YouGov poll, have conned a quarter of Americans in believing Kirk's killer was a Republican, was MAGA. And the sickos who cheer Kirk's death, such as New Jersey doctor who resigned after a nurse allegedly, he said Kirk deserved to be shot. MSNBC seems wise in firing Matthew Dow for practically justifying the assassination, and any teacher who praises the killer in class should surely be shown the door. This is not a right to rushing the copies left's cancel culture injustices, at least not yet. Our sympathies are entirely with the guy fired over a wife's Kirk-hating posts. Free speech is intrinsically messy. People argue back and forth, citing facts and true and false, on the assumption that by the most of us can figure out the right and true well enough to keep muddling along, without government censors to stomp out what they decide is, quote, hateful or disinformation. It serves the nation just fine for over 2 centuries. Let's keep it up, in reference to the Constitution. The fact of the matter is that, as we've seen over the last decade, the ramping up of hating those who have a differing opinion of others has gone through the roof. Not just in regular James and Joe's, college campuses, Hollywood, see Gina Carano, but especially in the wake of Charlie Kirk's death, that we have seen the left go on a suicide mission, dying on the hills of disgusting, abhorrent behavior and speech in an innocent man getting killed. I've never seen anything like it. The first 48 hours after after the murdering of Charlie Kirk, all hell broke loose on the left. I mean, literally, the gates of hell opened up and they came out running. All the demons came out. And it was left, right, and center. And I have no problem with businesses, private businesses, stepping in and said, yeah, you got to go. New Jersey doctor, you got to go. MSNBC, yeah, dude shooting his mouth off, you got to go. You got a number of lefties calling attorneys saying, we need to fight to get our jobs back. And these same attorneys are going, no, these are private businesses. We're not getting involved with that. They have a right to fire you at will if need be. A number of states in the country have at will. They're at will. Basically, they can fire you for any reason outside of discrimination. They can. If you're ugly, yeah, they can fire you. You know, if you're dopey, they can fire you. If you're an idiot, they can fire you. You know, or shall I say, you know, in regards to, of course, you know, work, you know, things that you're doing at work that you're not supposed to be doing at work. Anyway, but difference between government stepping in and private business stepping in, as I said earlier. But at the end of the day, Pam needs to walk this back further and goes, to make it very clear, hate speech is not protected. He goes, hate speech is not, because there's no such thing as hate speech, and, you know, things that you don't like, it's protected under the Constitution. You know, there are things that we hear every day that we don't like, especially vile and disgusting things that are being said, not just about Charlie Kirk, but just about conservatives in general, because it feels that conservatives are being picked on a lot over the last half decade. And you can cite chapter and verse. Everyone from Megyn Kelly to Tucker Carlson to Ben Shapiro to Steven Crowder and everyone else in between, they can cite you chapter and verse of the hate that is being spewed upon us. But we're not going after them with, pitches, torches and pitchforks saying, kill the monster. You know, we can't use the same cancel culture tactics that the left used on us back in 2020. Remember 2020? Remember how that those of us who had issues about the coof and issues about the magical vax were told to sit down and shut the fuck up. If you don't take the magical vax, you're going to lose your job. You're going to lose your career. You're going to be canceled. You're going to be banned. You're going to be washed from social media and social society. Remember that? Gosh, how we have short memories. We do not need to go down the leftist route. We need to root them out. We need to expose them for the trash that they are, but not, use Charlie Kirk's death as a hammer to come down on everything that we don't like. Because Charlie wouldn't have wanted it that way. And with that being said, I'm Jazz Borganzo. This is What's Next. Want to see more like this? Please leave a comment below. Like it, share, subscribe to it. Hit that notification bell so you guys never miss a thing. Continue spreading the word about the show. Appreciate you guys watching as always. And we'll see you next time. Peace.